Oh, perfect. Then I'll go ahead and call to order the Irvine International Academy monthly board meeting for February 23rd, 2021. Welcome everybody, especially parents. We'll begin with a roll call for board members. And I'll begin with myself being present, Board President Doug Hewson. Next.
Trustee Rogers, present.
Thank you, Glenn. And
Edward. Can you hear us, Edward?
I don't think he's here.
Yeah, Doug, I think he dropped.
okay, let's give him a moment to log back in. By the way, following our roll call, we'll have opportunity for public comments. And so Stephen, Principal Chong will help us coordinate some of those public comments should we have them. But let's give Edward a chance for technology to catch up and log back in.
Trustee Watson is back, right?
Yeah, it looks like it.
We need his to say he's present.
I know Michael's chatting with him on the phone there with there we go. Hello, Trustee Watson, good to see you. We're doing roll call now, and so if you would acknowledge your presence, Trustee Rogers, we'd be grateful.
Glenn Rogers here.
And then Trustee Watson. I see he's got his mute on at the moment and camera off again for a second.
Turn your mute on and say present for roll call.
Love technology.
Oh, could you repeat that again? Trustee Watson, sorry, volume was a little low on my side. Did you say present?
Maybe he can raise his hand.
He says he can't hear anybody.
Okay. Yeah, he dropped off for one more second to the bottom with audio. Let's see if he comes back on. Trustee Watson expressed his presence on the chat line, and so we'll acknowledge that and move on. Thank you, Trustee Watson. Let the roll call then show that we have a quorum present, and we'll continue on. Next will be public comments, and we'd afford anyone up to 3 minutes for comments related to our agenda. Oftentimes, people join our meetings just to observe and to listen in. That's a-okay, but this is an opportunity for anyone who has a public comment to indicate they'd like to speak. Principal Chung, how would you like to do that? Would you like them to acknowledge by using the button that says raise a hand, or just simply come on audio and ask for permission to be next?
They can type their name in the chat room and then call them by order.
Perfect. And so let's go ahead and have Any who would like to make public comments, put their name in the chat line. To find that, by the way, if you're not familiar with Zoom, just move your mouse to the bottom of the screen. And on the bottom control area, there'll be a bubble that says chat. And so let's give everybody a minute or so who might want to comment. And then if we don't have public comments, we'll move on to our next agenda item. You know, when it's silent, it seems like time moves very, very slow. Give about another 30 seconds, of course. We don't want to hurry past that opportunity. Then following our public comments, should we have any, the board will go into a short period of time, probably no more than 10 minutes of a closed session to discuss teacher contracts, uniform policies, and class structures. That will be a non-public portion, but the results will be reported when we come back into open session. And so last opportunity, any public comments? Okay, let's move on then to our closed session. We will reconvene by 6:30 for sure, perhaps just a little bit earlier. Principal Chong, how would you like people who are in this meeting right now to continue with us, or would you like us to continue without them?
I will continue recording a board meeting while I'm putting you in the breakout room.
Okay, so we'll be in our breakout room.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay, so I'm going to put our board members in the breakout room.
Great.
Did you see the invitation to go to the breakout room? Dr. Scott, are you supposed to join them too or no?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. You should see the invitation right now. For our audience, our board members are having a closed session. We will reconvene the board meeting when they are finished, probably in 10 minutes. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, as we all come back, welcome back, everybody. Okay, closed session now has come to an end, and we're back in our regular meeting, reconvening, time 6:36. We're going to begin our meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll invite a board member if they'd like to lead, and if I don't get a volunteer, I am happy to lead the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Is there a board member that would like to lead our pledge? I think it's going to fall to our board president, which I'm happy to. And if you would like to place your right hand over your heart, I would like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance out loud. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for participating in our pledge. We're going to now have a report of closed session discussion and action. In the closed session, the topics were our teacher salary schedule or teacher contract framework, our uniform policies, and then our class structures, meaning how many classes at each grade level we will begin with. So, from that, let's first take a motion to approve the teacher contract as prepared by Principal Chong, which reflects the Irvine Unified School District schedule as well. Is there a board member that would like to move on that, accepting this salary schedule?
Yeah, this is Glenn. I moved forward.
Thank you. Could I have a second as well?
I second.
And having had that, any discussion beyond what was done in closed session? Then let's vote. All in favor signify by raising hand or saying aye.
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 Any nays? And motion passes unanimously. Now moving to uniform policy. Our school will have a uniform and dress code policy, and it's on the screen at this time. Could I have a motion to accept the uniform policy as it exists today? It's a framework, and of course the principal and the superintendent will have some leeway with the parents to modify it over time as necessary. But could I have a motion to accept the uniform policy as written at this time?
I motion it. Glenn?
Thank you. And a second?
I second it.
Okay, from Trustee Rogers, and then also from our additional trustee as well. Thank you. Let's have any discussion beyond our closed session. Then let's go ahead and have a vote. Please signify by raising a hand or saying aye if you approve. Aye.
Aye.
And any nays? And motion passes. Thank you. And now we have class structures or the number of classrooms at each grade level. From the closed session, the motion that I will ask for is one to accept the class structures as written in the charter with one exception, now adding a kinder class to meet the demand of the parents. Is there someone that would make that motion?
Trustee Rogers, yes.
Thank you. And a second, please.
I second that.
Any discussion on that from board? Well, my only discussion is it's great to have a little flexibility and see such a strong demand at the kinder level. That's really exciting. With that in mind, all in favor then of accepting the change and the structure as stated in the charter, signify by raising hand or saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? And motion passes then unanimously. Thank you, everybody. Now moving on, the board has had a chance to look at and review the minutes from our prior meeting. Ask for a motion to approve the minutes as they are. You will have an opportunity during discussion if there needs to be anything modified. but could I have a motion to approve minutes as they are?
Lander, motion forward.
And a second, please.
I second.
Thank you. Discussion. Was there anything that anyone noticed that needed a change?
No.
Neither with me. So to accept the minutes as presented, please signify by raising a hand or saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And any nays? And minutes are approved. Well, now the fun part. That was some formality. For those just joining us, by the way, I'm Board President Hewson, and I'm so glad you're with us. It's exciting to have people with us. I know sometimes board meetings seem a bit procedural. If you'll forgive us that, now comes the exciting part, an update from our Executive Director or Superintendent, Dr. Michael Scott. Would you give us some updates, A to E, if you would? I would love to say A to Z, but A to E.
Hey, we are going barn burners here on enrollment. We have 346 enrolled students,
Wow.
just 5 in the last 2 hours. So I haven't been able to enter their names. 255, which will be a little bit higher than that, are from Irvine Unified School District. I had to have 80, and the district predicted we would have 35. So we're at 255 or more. We are at 89%. Well, actually, we're probably 90% now of our goal of 384. We started with 2 classes in all grades except 1 in 4th grade and 1 in 5th grade. We had to increase kindergarten to a 3rd class. That has been the strongest one. And TK, K, and 1st grade are just awesome kids to learn a new language. We're really glad for that. On March 2nd will be the end of open enrollment. And then we'll be notifying all the parents of which classes do not have a lottery. They'll know right away. And then we'll arrange and send a letter to the grades that do need a lottery so that we can arrange a future date within probably a week to hold the lottery so everybody can quickly understand where they're at. Okay, any questions?
Perhaps congratulations to Principal Chong and you as well, Dr. Scott. We know that you've been on the telephone many, many hours with parents and answering emails and Facebook chats. And I love the question and answer session that Principal Chong does on our Facebook page, because if one parent has the question, I'm guessing that 10 to 15 to 20 or more will have the same question. And so thank you for being personally engaged with our parents. I think that's the feel that we want to have: approachable, accessible, and always in communication with our parents. Board members, anything else on enrollment that you would like to note? Does it surprise you how successful this has been?
We have one parent raised the hand, Justin Train.
For a comment?
Hi, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm Justin Tran's mom. I know I just stepped away for a minute and I heard the word lottery. Can we just kind of go through whether the IUSD students have priority, or they're going to be part of the lottery as well?
Okay.
Go ahead, Dr. Scott. Thank you for that question, by the way.
I will be sending out a letter later that will clarify how the lottery works. Students are weighted in the lottery. So you assign a point value, and Irvine students are rated over outside of the district students. And yet it's still a lottery.
In your letter, will you share the rubric or the methodology or the way it works so everybody's comfortable? But did I understand you right that those within the Irvine Unified School District boundary would have an advantage?
They do have an advantage. That's in our um, petition, and I reviewed that with Teresa Johnson at the Orange County Department of Education. They will be given a point advantage in a lottery drawing.
Follow up from our parent, is that adequate for tonight until the email comes?
Yeah,
Yes, and just a follow up to that. If one child, I have two children. If one child is selected for the lottery and one is not, will the second one automatically be included?
the second one will be point weighted as well. So for instance, if grades 5, 4, 3 are accepted and they have a younger sibling,
Yes.
they will get extra points in addition to being Irvine residents. So they'll be weighted more. It's one of the categories for more points.
Okay, but is there a possibility where one child is accepted and the other is not?
But according to the lottery, there is a chance, but it'll be pretty weighted.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's
Thank you.
why it is the reason why we're opening that third kindergarten. And we'll talk more as our open enrollment finishes up of what we want to do as far as class, so that we don't have a waiting list after March 2nd. But we'll have to wait till the open enrollment closes so we can make those final choices. And Principal Stephen and I will be working on that.
Thank you. Board members or parents, I guess, any other comments on current school enrollment? Very good.
Next update, Dr. Scott, timing of future loans in ADA.
Okay. We are currently working on, and Steve, Doug, did you want to talk about a loan first, or should we even mention it if we haven't banked it?
I think it's worthwhile taking a moment just to inform all of our parents, and it's a school board matter too, simply because the loan, we gave you permission and chartered both you and Principal Chong to investigate loan opportunities until our average daily attendance dollars begin to flow. And so the first was that you were able to discover a lender, Peter McGowan, who's willing to do personal unsecured loan for us for 6 months, $50,000, which helps us with our current expenses. And that's before the board tonight for approval. And it's a really great opportunity because it gives us what we need to begin paying our salaries until our loan company, CAM, which generally loans to charters, is able to review our application and then come in with the money they normally do to bridge schools like ours through till school starts. So this was given to, I believe, the board members. It's a $50,000 loan paid back in 6 months at 10% interest. It does provide the opportunity, should the lender decide to secure against future assets, but currently we have no assets. So it's really a nice loan to get from them as well. Repayment schedules listed and terms as well. So that's what's before us. I will have you in a moment talk about your other conversations as well with charter asset management. I think that'll be more interesting. That's more traditional, but this is a really well-timed opportunity for us to take advantage of a parent that wants to see our school succeed. I'd like to have a motion from someone first to give Dr. Scott approval to enter into this loan agreement with private party Peter McGowan, at the interest rate of 10% for 6 months for $50,000. Then we'll have some discussion because there may be some questions as well. But would someone make a motion then to accept and give Dr. Scott permission to enter into the agreement on our behalf?
Yeah, this is Glenn. I motion to have a discussion about it.
Okay, yeah, we can move. Let me ask for a second. We're not voting yet, but is there a second to move into the?
I'll second to
Thank
have
you.
a discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, so discussion. Now let's hear some thoughts and questions.
So the loan is coming from a parent, is that correct?
Not a parent, but a private party that's interested, been watching our school develop and wants to make sure we succeed and has plenty of capital, personal capital to fund us for the early months.
So how did we come about this individual?
This is an individual that knows Dr. Scott, also knows me as well, and has been watching our school for a better part of a year as we've kind of been on the journey to become approved. So there's some personal connection with me. I don't benefit in any way. I would disclose that, but just knowledge of our school and passion for education. Mr. McGowan sat on another school board for many years that I was superintendent of, and I think he's a fan of my endeavors in education and has a heart for education as well, both private, public, and charters.
Okay, and then the 10% interest rate, is that something that's negotiable or is that something firm?
It's fairly firm. If you've been watching some of maybe your own investments at this time, 10% is tough for people who have money tied up in investments who are doing really well right now. That could change in a day, but that was the best negotiation for Dr. Scott with Mr. McGowan at this moment. You will hear by comparison, charter asset management is probably between 7 and 10%.
13.
But they're
13.
okay, 7 and 13, but their dollar amounts can be much higher. And we hope that higher dollar amounts would be lower interest, but it can tend to work the other way. So this has been negotiated back and forth a number of times between Dr. Scott, Mr. McGowan, and then Mr. McGowan's attorney weighed in on it as well and likes the deal as it is. So it's pretty firm at this moment.
We have a comment from parents, Justin Train. She said 10% seems high. No.
Well, he is reducing from 12% earnings. He's making a sacrifice to provide the money for the school. Also, it's a very short-term loan.
Mm-hmm. It's very convenient for us. 10% is high, but there's no asset base as collateral at the moment. And that's 2 years from now, we wouldn't accept a 10% loan in any way, shape, or form at all. However, right now, the high risk is on the lender side, not the borrower side. And we're the borrower. So yeah, I would, with Justin Tram, I would say 10% can seem high. However, with the totality of circumstances, it's a pretty good way to start. You know, on $50,000, we're going to give up $2,000. However, our options are limited at the moment because we've not yet started school. And so I would agree in a normal type. He's good with that. Yeah. So thank you for that question. We've had to wrestle it down over the last 60 days too, how we capitalize.
And then, what are we using the funds for specifically?
Primarily, go ahead, Michael, if you like.
Okay, I am not benefiting at all from these funds, first off. Specifically, it's to pay Stephen's salary for January as a beginning. He has been working without a salary now for 6 months. And then probably, until we have other money come in, we'll set aside some for his second salary of February. In addition, we have legal bills that we need to pay some money, principals to, that have done $20,000 worth of legal work. We've been paying $300 a month on. So we need to pay off a portion of that. Thirdly is the work done by Athena Advance has been not charged to us yet. So we need to pay them something towards the work that they've done. We wouldn't have gotten to school without them. Those are three of the main things. There's a lot of smaller ones, like we need to join EdJoin so we can advertise for teachers, especially English-speaking teachers. We really can't get into the market until we join EdJoin.
Those are kind of
Those are the main things I can think of. We're just behind in capital. People have been very kind to us to let us slide, but we need to repay some of that.
Got it. So Doug, I assume we have an auditor that's going to track all the funds and the payment back, right?
Right.
But then the interest, since we're a school, how are we paying back that interest? Is it going to be based upon donations or what? How's that going to work?
Well, I'd like to address that, Doug. We have not asked for donations yet, although we're in talks with several foundations, 2, maybe 3 foundations right now. Secondly, we'll do a fundraiser, but we want to wait until we can tell parents absolutely they were enrolled in the school. And then we'll be asking parents for donations. Irvine School District pays approximately, I'm sorry, not Irvine, because we're similar to Irvine in receiving about $9,000 ADA, and our budget is set up for that and is balanced and has a 5% at least the first year over.
Yeah, retained
It-
earnings.
Yes. But that's some of the lowest ADA amounts in the state because they figure they're not getting any extra money because they're a rich district. So that's kind of a hindrance. And we need to tell the parents that and explain that to them when we go into fundraising.
Okay, so for the folks who are on the call, Doug, we're probably going to need to explain some acronyms, right? So we're all on the same page. ADA is?
Average daily attendance.
Represents the money that is afforded to the school by the state by formula for each child each day they're in attendance.
Okay, and that's $9,000 per year.
That's what our budget has, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Which is actually low. When I worked in San Bernardino, they had several more thousand added because it was a low income district.
To address maybe a little more directly then too, because Jesse Song also had a same question. You can repay a loan or the interest that is created from the loan in a number of ways. The preferred way that feels best is fundraising when we do have donors that contribute to our school. That just feels good because nobody likes to feel like interest is a part of a budget. But the truth is, in our pro forma and our budget, we've accounted for the fact that we do have to borrow in the early years. Not early years, I'm sorry, the early months. So we know we're going to have to pay some interest. How we pay it can be either, right from the average daily attendance dollars that we get later. What happens with other organizations like Charter Asset Management, they take a secured interest in our accounts receivable on that ADA. And so we will have to pay them in one way or the other, the interest for getting the money early. The key is not to spend too much money before we start taking our ADA money in, because then we can keep the interest very low or keep it as low as possible. So there's a couple methods we could. The budget accounts for the fact that every charter starts without cash in the bank. Yeah, so great questions.
Doug, It's coming up in a second. The federal grant is also a $600,000 grant that will help pay a lot of the expenses so we don't have to use the ADA money for it. So that'll be a tremendous boon. In addition, I'm writing a $250,000 loan, 0 interest, that's available through the state that we can also use to repay these kind of loans earlier. On the grant itself, I've taken the responsibility for $5,000 to $6,000 it's going to cost to finish writing that. But it's worth it on the other end. So I personally am responsible for that.
When do we expect that will take place?
The date was just pushed back for the grant to the 23rd and through March 23rd. So it'll be funded after that and be available come July or August when we start classes. It's a loan, it's a grant that you have to spend money first, turn in the receipts, and then you get reimbursed. So again, we need the 50,000. So we have a ground to spend some money with. We don't have any money to spend.
Yeah.
But if there's anybody else that wants to do a loan at a lower interest rate, I'd be happy to talk to them.
I love that idea. Always making the offer. Any other comments or questions about the particular first opportunity we have with the loan with Mr. McGowan? Okay. Then no more discussion. I'd like to take a vote on it. Would you signify then all in favor of giving Dr. Scott the ability to enter into our loan with Mr. McGowan? Signify by raising a hand or saying aye. And aye.
Aye.
And any nays? Okay, motion carries. And we'll allow Dr. Scott to keep us informed on that one as well. Could you also continue on, Dr. Scott, with just the opportunity? It was nice, we swerved into it with introducing Charter Asset Management and what they will do, because they would be our primary lender till our grant is approved and the state loan comes through as well.
Okay, so this is going to be under future loans in ADA. Charter School Management, I spoke with the principals today and asked for $100,000 to be used against the accounts receivables of the ADA. They have lent out, I forgot the millions, 100 million or more to schools. This is a very common thing for them, but not a sure thing either, because it's just a bad economy in some ways. They were so pleased though to hear four things. Our enrollment being so high. I talked to another school, their enrollment because of COVID had dropped to 21 high school students, 21. And we're at 347. So that was good. Another person that's worked with us for 3 years, you may remember Nick Driver, worked at camp. And he's recommending us. And we were fortunate to pick up relationships with Delano Jones and Lee Taylor. They are in great standing for recommendation with camp. So it seemed to go pretty positive. The interest rate, after they look at all the factors, will be between 7 or 13. And I don't know what that will be. So they're working on that now, and they'll get back to us in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Anticipating any action on this until we have any firm proposal from them. Once we have a firm proposal, we can put that before the board. But thank you for that update. How about our property? I think a lot of our parents would want to know what's our status and when will we know about El Camino Real Elementary School?
Okay, I just got a letter from Sarah Coleman, our lawyer, just to inform the board, she was involved as a new lawyer with the Los Angeles Unified School District and was successful after a 6-year legal struggle to win, and they had to pay $8 million for the LA Unified did and set precedents. So she's extremely good at what she does. The lawyer from the district is saying that the March 2nd meeting, this will be on the board's agenda for discussion. Now, these are under the conditions of COVID, so they're not letting anybody in to come and public speak. But this is all news to you, right? Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get our parents to write 1-minute letters urging for the board to allow us to use one of the 2 empty schools that Irvine Unified School District has available. And the one we're asking for is El Camino Real. It's not listed on the website of Irvine Unified School District as an active school, and it is not active. So that would be the next step on our Prop 39 update. We do have to turn in some kind of a letter by March 1st. It's before the meeting. So Sarah will have to write that. And I was hoping we could have avoided that letter if they'd given us something a week ago when they said they were going to give it to us. But I think, Doug, you wrote a letter last board meeting. I wrote a letter, and one of our parents, and I don't know the name because it wasn't clear. Thank you, one of our parents, because your letter was so effective as a third letter, and you hit the numbers right on, spot on of what the board needed to hear. It was great. Thank you for that. So that's our Prop 39 update. We're in a lull until the board meeting, which I think is March 2nd, maybe March 3rd. I have to look.
Very good.
I'll send out a letter to all of our parents, telling them we sure love you to have a paragraph, something short. But let's get 300 letters to the board saying, you know, we're voters in Irvine, and you have these 2 schools, and we'd love for you to put it together for us.
Okay, and if we hear anything sooner from the district about allocating one of those 2 schools, then of course, we'll let everybody know immediately. Yeah, so deadline's coming up. Probably within 2 weeks, we'll be resolved on that question.
Yep, the lawyers they're talking to each other.
Good, good. Next on D is action to apply for Irvine Public School Foundation funds.
Yeah. Okay. The Irvine Public School Foundation supports public schools. That has traditionally been the Irvine Unified School District. There is no other public school until last month when Irvine International Academy was approved by Orange County. Now we are a public school. All I'm asking for here is board permission to approach and maybe write a grant to the Irvine Public School Foundation for funds. I noticed that was the approach Irvine used at their last board meeting. And I will be asking for funds. My first thought is to help us in the creation of our curriculum for the school, to pay for teacher time, extra time to accomplish that. The foundation is the third in 2017. I believe it was the 3rd largest foundation in the United States. So this is how Irvine gets over the issue of a 9,000 ADA. It's the Irvine Public School Fund Foundation's $1 million grants to Irvine Public Schools. And I think we have teachers that have contacts within this organization. So it's just for me to start talking to them to request a grant.
And do you need board action on that?
I think I do, just that
Okay.
the board supports me talking to them.
let's see how we would phrase this motion. Have a motion to charter Dr. Scott to seek grant funding from the Irvine Public School Foundation. That sounds good to me. Releasing you to go find money from a benevolent organization. That's pretty good. Well, without rephrasing it any different, I'll make that motion that we charter Dr. Scott to apply for Irvine Public School Foundation funding. Could I have someone that would make, well, actually, I haven't got a chance to get in the box scores, as they say. Why don't I make that motion? I have not made any motions yet. I'll make that motion. Is there someone that would second it?
This is Glenn. I'll second it.
Thank you. Then let's go ahead and have a vote signifying by either raising your hand or saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, Dr. Scott, bring back a wonderful grant from people who understand and love our charter. That would be fantastic. Just having the relationship would be great because these are parents and business people that have a heart for education. And I bet a whole bunch of them would have a heart for the type of education we're doing.
And I'm taking Stephen, Smiling Steve, and I'm going to start calling him because he is just great meeting individuals on this board. He's already knowing some of the foundation people.
Very good. Well, you may have swerved into it, but do you want to recap the status of federal grant writing and the help that we've received?
Yeah, we have a person helping us write the grant, and we are pretty much finished. The one thing we've been waiting for is actually the signed letter minute letters from Orange County Department of Ed, so that we can apply and get our school CD, California Department of Education school number. These are required to put on the loan, the revolving loan, that's what's held that back, and the grant application. So we're ready to submit. I've worked on the budget diligently. Stephen has had a tremendous input into this process as well. So the cost I will be picking up for it, but we're a heartbeat away from sending it off now. Although it was delayed, it was going to be due on the 23rd, but it's been delayed now, 1 month. But we'll turn it in before that.
That's just, was that for us or was that the whole program was 1 month delayed?
The whole program was 1 month delayed.
Okay.
And if I was going to venture to say why, I'd say it was COVID's fault.
Yeah. Yeah, just unavailability, I'm sure, of people that normally would review those. Very good. What would you say is our opportunity there? I mean, it's the potential is to receive a grant of up to 600,000, but what would you say our likelihood is? Any gut feel on that? We're not holding you to it, but just feeling from experience.
Well, I think we're going to be successful. I mean, we have an innovation. Our school is innovative in so many different ways. And I think it's a game changer school, frankly. Mm-hmm. And it's well written. The grant is really well written. I just can't compliment Stephen enough. I had to call him in at the last minute and his brain was mighty and he was able to make things work. Fortunately, we have a good petition that we're drawing on to write from, and a great partnership with people that support us. So
great. And when do they make their grant awards? Did you say that'll probably be delayed till about April timeframe?
It's hard for me to say, but I would guess April.
Okay.
The catch is we have to spend it all before school starts.
Oh yeah. Well, if we
look at things that are one-time purchases or one-time expenses, such as buying curriculum for all the kids. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That would be one of the uses. And then that frees up our ADA that first year to pay off other things.
Very good. Well, that would just be such a boost to what we're doing. So thank you. That's great. Great updates, by the way. I wish we were in person because, we could clap a little bit or do something like that. It doesn't translate very well over Zoom. We're moving on to our consent calendar now. And items 1, 2, and 3, we've already consented to up earlier coming out of closed session. Those were the school uniform policy. Oh, no, I'm sorry. School lunch is new. We've done 1 and 3 already. School lunch program. Let's rely upon Principal Chong to share with us just an overview of the lunch program he envisions, and then we'll take a vote on that.
Trustee Houston and board members, Dr. Scott, thank you for allowing me to present the nutrition program that we will be working with School Nutrition Plus. They have been working with other 40 charter schools in Los Angeles and Orange counties. So per their offer, the cost of the snack will be 90 cents and it will be $3.45 for lunch. And then they also will provide us the menu 1 month prior to each month, so we can share that information with our parents if they choose to enroll this lunch program at our school. So I ask you to have a discussion. If you don't have any questions, then I would like to ask you to approve that.
One question that arises for me is, if we receive some students that qualify for free and reduced meals, do we manage that internally, or does School Nutrition Plus help us? I'm just curious on that. It's not exactly what we're talking about, but I'm just curious a little bit.
I believe we have to manage it ourselves.
That'll be us. Okay, thank you.
And the Irvine Unified School District has a 19% group of free or reduced lunch.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons we get such a low ADA. We don't have enough free and reduced lunch children.
Yeah. Well, we may mirror them fairly close, and so good. Trustees, any other thoughts or questions for Principal Chung on lunch program?
None from me, guys.
No, sounds good.
Great. Let's do this then. Could we have a motion then to accept our lunch program as defined by Principal Chong?
Yeah, I motion it, guys.
Okay, thank you. And second, please.
I second it.
Okay, then all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
any nays? Okay, we have a school lunch program ready for next year. Number 3, certificated salary schedule 2021-22, we've approved already. The affiliation with California State University, Fullerton, home of the Titans. Let's hear about that. I'm excited about what it could be, but describe for our parents the significance and what this is. And our board members have heard about this in the past, but now it seems like it's coming to fruition.
Thank you. So we are very fortunate to have the potential affiliation with California University in Fullerton. So once we sign this MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, that we can host their student teacher to come to our school to do their practicum. And another advantage is that if we really have difficulty recruiting for Mandarin teachers, then we will have the advantage that which is we will be H-1B exemption, that our teacher candidate, they don't have to draw the lottery to be granted with a work visa. So this will be the big advantage that we will have once we have the affiliation with University of California.
Wow. Trustees, any comments or thoughts? It's kind of exciting about the partnership and the potential there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great avenue for us to bring new teachers in and great avenue for our students to see teachers that want to teach.
Yeah, it sounds great. I have some experience with this and it'll be great for the school.
Wow. Well done. Well done. It just seems that now that approval occurred a little over a month ago, partners are joining us readily who want to be part of what's happening. And that's really exciting. With this agreement, let's make a motion then to accept the agreement as provided. If I could have a motion from a trustee.
I motion it. This is Glenn.
And a second, please.
I second it. Edward.
Thank you, Edward. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? And motion passes. Thank you. Wow, that's great. Next on our consent calendar.
Excuse me, Doug.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I know Edward Watson just said that he's familiar with the program. And I don't know if our parents really understand Edward's background. And I was wondering if he could just share a little bit more about what he's familiar with in the student teachings. I'm so proud of the board members that we have here and your experiences. Edward, would you mind just sharing a little bit more about your familiarity with this?
Yeah, I'm writing a dissertation on dual language immersion programs, and I've spent really since 2015, I started researching dual immersion programs, specifically Mandarin ones, speaking with principals, teachers, parents, and students, observing classrooms. And I have some connections at Cal State Fullerton, and that's how I'm familiar with the program, but also other schools around SoCal and how they prepare teachers for dual language immersion and specifically Mandarin programs. My PhD is from UCI.
And then you lived in China, correct?
Yeah, I lived there from 2006 to 2010, and my Chinese is pretty good. It's not fluent, but I like to call it general fluency. That's what I call it.
That was great. Isn't that neat too? I think as the parents get to know the board a bit, they already know Principal Chong pretty well. I think they are going to, we're going to just enjoy getting to know each other. But I would love to see our board approachable and at times on campus, available to parents too. And just hearing that about you and some of your background, of course, thrills me. Your dissertation you're working on, you have a lab right now to observe, and it's just great to have you with us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks.
Wow. Well, there was a meeting set up on Zoom between Principal Chong and Dr. Scott, along with the Orange County Music and Dance School. And we'd love to hear an update on that. It's just sounds, again, and another exciting potential partner.
So this is a conversation follow up by the one we have with parents when we met parents during the CAMA to answer the questions, and parents would like to know if our students will have music class. So after that conversation, one of our potential IIA parents introduced me to the founder and donor of OC Music and Dance School. So we are so fortunate that the CEO responded to my email immediately, and we quickly arranged a Zoom meeting to share our vision with them. And we feel that this would be a great collaboration between two schools. So I'm asking our board to approve Dr. Scott and I to continue this conversation so that we can set up an agreement between OC Music and Dance and IIA. and we will share with board and parents once we have more detailed information.
Thoughts from our trustees. By the way, one of the founders there of the Orange County School of Music and Dance, or at least benefactors, is Charlie Zhang. Is that, I probably am pronouncing his name not perfectly, but he and his wife Ling started a food franchise that's become very, very popular in Southern California called Pickup Sticks. Anybody ever eat at Pickup Sticks? That's who they were chatting with. And he has a passion for children's development with their music and dance, and particularly music. And we could envision him at some point coming alongside and really helping our students move quickly into music, maybe by providing instruments and things like that. But, you know, right now it's just the relationship, and I love that you're exploring that, because we want to have very well-rounded children, and music is so important, the fine arts. So that's great. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, I just want to say that this dovetails into our school agendas, because we're going to emphasize multiple intelligence theory in the classroom by Dr. Gardner of Harvard. And two of the intelligences he identified are music and kinesthetic movement, dance. So for an instance of this is the ABC song, which is actually a Mozart tune. And UC Irvine, Edward, did a groundbreaking study on music, classical music by Mozart being played before testing, and it actually increased IQ. So our petition already started this, and this is a tremendous opportunity for our parents and our students to grow.
Well, thank you.
So let me conclude. So once we agree and sign the MOU, then our students will attend music class for 30 minutes every Wednesday morning. So just let parents know what that is, that whole conversation is about. And then we will do a parent survey if they would like to have that option for the after school program. Then the OC Music and Dance would like to hold after school program on our site in the future.
Wow. Well, I would love then to move that we charter Principal Chong and Superintendent Scott to continue the conversations and report back to the board for a potential partnership as they've described. So I'd be happy to move that way. Could I get a second from a trustee?
Sure, I second it.
Thank you. And let's go ahead and take a vote on that. All in favor then signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, continue on. That's exciting to hear. We talked about our classroom structure and the addition already and voted on the addition of the kinder class. Lottery system for student enrollment. I believe we talked about that, and it's really prescribed by law. So I don't know if we need a motion on it.
We will need one motion. We have to pay an outside party to run it.
Okay.
So we do need to approve that payment.
Since we're chatting about that, I mean, we could pick it up in discussion at that time too, but could you just elaborate on cost and if you have identified 1, 2, or 3 candidates?
You know, I don't have the cost or the candidates' names in front of me yet.
Okay.
I'm going to I tried contacting a charter school support to see how to approach it. I know Glenn had a company in mind at one point. So I need more time to finish that up.
Is it time? Do you need us to approve anything immediately? We don't want to hold you up, but if it's not necessary to approve yet, we could call a special meeting to do it if needed or on our regular schedule. It is going to come up very quickly, right?
Yes. Within 2 weeks, we'll have to hold the lottery after March 2nd.
Help me shape a motion. What would the motion be? What would we be approving?
Say to approve $1,000 to pay a uninterested party to operate the lottery. We also need to find a location to hold it that's large enough for anybody to attend. Public.
Okay. Yep.
In-person lottery?
You don't have to be there in person, but
Okay.
you have to have it available for people to see and watch.
So it's fine to go through Zoom, right? Because with COVID, that's gonna be tough for us to get physically in person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
I think it has to be held over Zoom.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we have
I
to
don't see
have
how
that.
we can wait. We don't, for one, we don't have a physical facility yet to meet yet. And with COVID restrictions, I just don't think that makes sense.
Okay, that's a great point. Thank you.
And I would guess that the company we choose that does these little lotteries for schools all the time would have Zoom capability. And the nice thing is, then we don't have to necessarily do one that is limited in California. So we've got a little more room to, that's a great idea. But I think that could be a motion. And I could ask a board member to make a motion to charter Dr. Scott to conduct the lottery in accordance with the state law and to allocate up to $1,000 to make it happen. Could I have a motion from someone to that?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes, it's Glenn. Move forward.
Okay, Glenn, and a second, please.
I'll second, Edward.
Thank you, Edward. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 And any nays? Okay, great. Thank you for being attentive to that. That's a legal requirement. And again, we hope that it will produce all of the results that the parents desire. And, you know, for some, it's just going to be wonderful when we can say, yes, this is our student body for year one. We've already talked about short-term loan offer, number 8, so that's already approved too. Board recommendations. Are there any board recommendations? It looks like we also have a public comments listed again, which we could give opportunity for parents and public comments following that. But first, board, any recommendations that were not part of the board or just discussion that are important to you tonight? Okay. And then let's go ahead, since we have so many parents joining us. Thank you again, parents. We probably haven't said thank you enough for your attentiveness. And we want to give you the opportunity then for, again, public comments. And before we adjourn, any parents like to share a public comment? Of course, you always have the chat, but if you'd like to take the microphone, we'll acknowledge you.
We do have one question asked by parents earlier. What is the school size? I assume these parents was asking about the El Camino Rio Elementary School. What's the size of the school, I think?
Okay, and by size, we're going to probably guess, is it originally designed as an elementary school, or something different? And then they probably are curious on, are there adequate numbers of classrooms? Oh, and then they want to know about after school daycare. So great questions. I only know the first answer, but I'll ask Dr. Scott the second. Is designed to be a full-size elementary school compatible with all the others in Irvine. Dr. Scott, are there enough classrooms, and are there opportunities, this will be for Principal Chung, opportunities for after-school daycare or specialized programs, and then added Rainbow Rising, which is not my background. So Dr. Scott, how big is this school physically?
Well, they have 20 classrooms.
20 classrooms. And is that
And using Irvine's number of 33 per class, that's 660 children.
384 at the beginning?
Right. And I don't know if we'll be able to obtain the whole school the first year with our number of 384, but we're going to try.
Okay, thank you. And Principal Chung, how about the
After school program, yes.
and if you know Rainbow Rising, that would be wonderful. Thank you, parent, for asking that. And then Tom, Mosaic Tom, we'll get to you on the Common Core question next.
So we will again do the parents survey once we confirm with parents that their child or children are accepted. Then we will use that survey and see what kind of after school program we are going to offer. And we will share more details once we finish the survey. And yeah, we would like to have an after school program right on our site so that it will be more convenient for our parents for daily pickup.
Thank you. And I know you did that at College Park as well. And parents who both commute or have work commitments love to have after-school programs, homework completion, enhancements in mathematics, music, or maybe even language remediation. So great. We've talked about that. And so more details coming. What is the Rainbow Rising? That's not something I'm familiar with. Is that anything that you can answer at this time?
No, I'm not familiar with that, but I would.
Let's take that one
Sorry.
offline. If that could be an email question to Principal Chong. Patricia Shu has that question. So we'll note this in the chat and we'll get back with you. Thank you for that. And then next, this looks like it will go to Principal Chong. Mathematics curriculum that we'll select. I don't know if you have a publisher, if, we're going to use, Saxon Math or a different publisher that you prefer. If you best at grade level or a single publisher all the way through. And then would you address Common Core? I've got to tell you, if I ask the parent who wrote this, I can almost guess what they're saying. Are you going to keep doing those reverse engineering of the math problems in the way that I can't explain it to my own child over and over and over again? I get this question all the time on tours, but talk a little bit about mathematics curriculum. How much of Common Core will we prepare them with, for, and where we'll spend our time, and what language it will be taught in?
So we are planning to adopt the Singapore math for our mathematics curriculum. And once we hire all the English teachers, then we will have a discussion what curriculum we will adopt for our English language arts and also social studies. So at this point, I can just share with you that we will adopt Singapore math for our mathematics curriculum. And parents will have to wait a little bit regarding English language arts and social studies, and mathematics will be taught in English.
Very good, very good. And Common Core, when you were principal with the previous school, did you, maybe some of your teachers did, but did you engage in some conversations with parents who were a little bit frustrated with Common Core because as the kids get a little older in 4th, 5th grade, the parents are trying to understand the approach that leads to more critical thinking, but they never solve problems that way when they themselves were in school. Was that any of the experience you had?
The prior experience I had at College Park was that most parents think the math curriculum from Common Core is a little bit too easy. And so since we have students with multiple proficiency level in mathematics, so I think Singapore math offer more differentiated instruction options. So that's why we are planning to use Singapore math as our mathematics curriculum.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Let me see. There's a question on ratios in the classroom.
Yes.
And then it's added, coming from simplified Chinese to traditional, will that be an issue for kids? So 2 different questions. The number of children with teacher ratio.
I wrote an answer to that. We have 32 in a class for 1 teacher. Irvine Unified School District has 33 in a class, so we're 1 less than they are.
Okay.
Again, we would like to have extra teaching assistant in the classroom, but due to the limited budget, we would ask parents to donate so that we can afford to hire extra teaching assistant in our classroom to make the teacher-student ratio smaller, and which will benefit our students for sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and so that'll be a communication coming out shortly that will enumerate that use of funds that we fundraise for, because what a great reason to do that. A parent already is grateful. We'll get some more details too on Singapore Math, either up on our webpage or on our Facebook page too. Then are there plans on using the initial, oh wait, there was a question about moving from, I think it was traditional to,
Simplify, yes, I can answer the questions. So as many parents know that, it's easier to learn simplified Chinese characters, but in order for our children to have a strong foundation, we would like to start from traditional, because, children, they can learn everything quickly. And this is indeed based on my successful experience back in the Bay Area. And we did have some parents, coming from families who learn simplified. They say, would my kid have problem learning traditional? Actually, they won't, because they really learn quickly. In 6 months, they learn everything. So that's why we insist that they should have a strong foundation, starting from learning traditional Chinese characters. Then as they grow older, it's much easier for them to learn simplify. And our kids will have the big advantage for knowing both characters. That's why. Thank you.
Doug, I'd like to add something that I learned is that Japanese, many of the words are from the traditional characters. So our kids will have an advantage also in reading Japanese.
got it. Yeah, well, amazing. I want to get to a couple more, and then we're going to put a wrap on tonight's board meeting. And this will be posted for others to watch later on. I do want to be cognizant of time too. Thank you, parents. But these two are worth doing. Are there plans on using some of the initial budget toward COVID precautionary equipment? I probably am one that could speak on that, unless Michael, Scott, if you'd like to.
I'd just like to mention that's part of what the initial grant is that we're applying for. One-time purchases. It's exactly what you're going to talk about. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'll just add this, that the school that I'm involved with was able to get the county waiver to have on-campus instruction all year long. We started right after Labor Day last year, September 4th, and part of that was our plan that included just what you described, precautionary equipment, certainly the desk partitions. Ventilation we'll look at, and we'll see if it's adequate as is, or if we need to do some different filtering, but we'll follow some of the protocols that we learned and perfected over the last year at a school that I'm involved with. And so, yes, we will do that, and it'll be a great, safe environment, but that will be necessary, I think, for any schools, even the ones that are meeting already in Irvine Unified. Let's see if we've got, is there a specific date? We'll know if the kids got accepted into school. That's what everybody wants to know. So the lottery finishes, what's our date of posting acceptances?
We can begin on March 3rd for the classes that are not
Impacted.
Yeah. And then we'll have to let everybody know about the lottery date.
So March 3rd will be the first announcements and communications on that. Great. Well, let me see. I think we're good. And then this is for Principal Chong. We'll finish with this one from Kaisan. Will parents be able to volunteer? Will it be a volunteer accessible school?
Yes, we're hoping that we will have parent volunteering at our school. But again, it's only February right now. We will wait until we receive more guidelines from CDC and OCDE, Orange County Department of Education, regarding their guidelines, how we will open our school in August. So we thank you for your patience.
Well, thank you, everyone. And my apologies, we were fairly long tonight. It wouldn't be a typical board meeting, but I'll ask for a board member then to motion for adjournment.
Motion.
And a second, please.
Second.
And all in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it. Have a great continuation of your week. Thank you again, Principal Chong, for recording and taking care of all of our logistics.
Thank you. I'll stop recording now. Thank you.
Thank you.